Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Guess what, y'all? We are about to get on the Real Housewives of New Jersey train. And let me just tell y'all something. I have been watching the Real Housewives of New Jersey since season 1. I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit of something about me. I am literally a Housewives stan. Every single franchise, whether I like it or not, including Dallas, may it rest in peace, I have watched from season 1 until now. And baby, this season right here finna to be good. Yes, I said finna to be. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. Now, y'all, let's get into it if we're going to get into it. So I didn't review last episode, but I did watch. So when the episode picks up, you know, Jen and Margaret were talking, right? And so Margaret comes over thinking she about to drop a bomb, honey, and got ate all the way the hell up. So Jennifer is clearing Margaret per usual. Like, you're trying to throw an affair in her face as though it was her fault. Like, get lost, Margaret. You and your ponytail, just get lost. Like, where's Homer, Marge? Go on, honey, go on with that. You know what I loved? I love the fact that Jen owned it. Baby even corrected her. She said it was a pharmaceutical rap. Get it right, you bitch. Baby, Jennifer let it be known, honey. If you gonna come with it, then you need to come with the facts. I know that's right, y'all. And Marge in her ponytail walked right on off, honey. You lost. So what else is going on? I know that's right. So Margaret feels like she's the world's biggest hypocrite. One of these things is not like the other. Like, they teach you that on Sesame Street. This is not hypocritical, okay? How is it hypocritical when she was cheated on? It would be hypocritical if she were the cheater. Like, yeah, you found out I cheated the whole time. I'm mad for you being the cheater. I'm not going to want to be around no cheating skank that's sitting up skinning and grinning and acting like everything is okay when I've been hurt by a cheater myself. Absolutely not. Get a grip, Miss Pigtails. Moving forward. So Margaret is like, you know, I've known these things for years. This is what she's saying in her confessional. But she had such a visceral reaction that I just, left it alone when I first said something about it. But she pushed me too far tonight. You went over to her, Margaret. She didn't engage with you when she first got to that party. When she got there, all of y'all were over there cackling like mean girls in the cafeteria. You can't sit here. Ooh, look at her nose. Oh my gosh, she have a nose job? Who's her doctor? It looks awful. Even you, Jackie. I don't like none of them really, okay? Quite frankly, they make a great ensemble cast because each person brings something, but they all get on my nervous system. Every last one of them, and y'all know how I am. So don't get down in these comments and get to fussing at me because, honey, y'all know I ain't gonna care. Y'all know I ain't gonna care, honey. I am not wrapped up like that with these housewives. Child, they all get on my nerves. They all can stay and they all can go. So let's continue. So Jackie is like, I knew about the affair because Margaret told me. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I'm sure she did tell you the same way I believe she told Teresa about your husband, and she ain't fooling me. You better be careful with Margaret while you sitting up there riding till the wheels fall off. Moving forward. So Margaret is back over there with the mean girl clique, and she's like, I told her that her husband had an affair, and she said, yeah, he did. Here go Melissa. She said yes? Yep, she said yes. Bursted her bubble. Now what else is going on? So Dolores is talking to Jennifer because, she's trying to figure out what happened. And she's like, I just feel bad for Jen. So then Bill goes to get a drink. Here go Joe. I like him, but, his wife's mouth is just too much. She runs her mouth too much. Joe, you are a misogynistic pig. We know you're used to Melissa not having a voice, but Bill is secure enough in his manhood to allow his woman to have a voice. I know it's new. Like, ugh, sometimes I can't stand Joe. It's like I like Joe, but then I can't stand him at the same time. And I don't think she runs her mouth too much. I think she calls y'all out on your ish, and y'all don't like that. So Bill goes over to Jennifer, and she's crying. And she's like, I just want to go. I just want to go home. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing one teardrop. Do you hear me? I would have held my head high, went over there and sat on my husband's lap, and honey, we would have kikied all night long. Yep, he cheated. I forgave. We went to therapy. We went to counseling. Everything's all good. And what else is going on? Child, please, I wish I would have left. So he's like, well, do you want to say bye to Teresa? And she said no. So then they get in the car and leave, right? Meanwhile, everybody's over there gossiping, and Melissa's like, I feel bad. Like, we exposed Bill as a cheater. I would tread lightly, honey, because never say never. I'm just saying. Like, that could easily be you in a few seasons. Honey, if it ain't already. Because I'm convinced that everybody on this cast is a cheater. And I'm going to tell y'all about that a little bit later. So then Teresa says, Margaret attacked me last year. This is Teresa in her confessional. And now she's doing it to Jennifer at my party. Yet y'all still invite her to come around. So there's that. So Teresa goes to sit near Joe, right? And tells him that Jennifer and Bill, they left. And he's like, I was a little uneasy about coming here because, I don't want to be around people who are nasty. Oh, well, you sleep with Melissa every night. I ain't never trusted Melissa. Never. He's like, she puts stuff on social media. So Gia's like, well, people shouldn't open their mouths just like my dad. He didn't deserve what happened with him and what was said. So Joe said, what did you say? I hear you. Gia said, okay, so you're not going to come at me disrespectfully, because then I'm not going to talk to you. And I didn't think anything was wrong with that. She's letting it be known. We're going to have a respectful conversation. I have boundaries. You're going to treat me with respect and speak to me respectfully, and I'm going to speak to you respectfully. Gia is a grown woman. I know they still see her as a kid, but she's 21 years old. So if you're going to be in the mix with adults, as she has been from the time we were introduced to her, remember when Teresa used to say, do you love it? Fabulous. When she used to have little tutus on and everything. I cannot believe she is 21. Child, how old am I? This is getting ridiculous, honey. Gia making me feel old. Do y'all hear me? So anywho, she's telling him, look, you're going to talk to me respectfully, honey. Put some respect on my name. So he said, okay, just go. Okay, just go ahead and talk because I'm older. I'm your uncle. I'm your godfather. Well, what does that have to do with anything? So Gia was like, I don't give about none of that. About none of that. Baby, she don't give up. Do you hear me? She's like, that's okay. I'm an adult, so you can treat me with respect. I'm sick of the disrespect. You tell him, Gia. So then he says, I'm not disrespectful. She said, you're not talking down to me either. I know that's right. So Joe gets mad, honey, because Gia is speaking her speech. So he gets pissed. He gets up. He's like, this is horrendous. You're talking to me like that? He doesn't know how she was raised, honey. He would never allow his kids to speak to their uncle that way. Well, you know what, Joe? You should hope that Antonia stands 10 toes down for you as Gia is standing for her father. I know Joe and Joe, okay, which is so crazy that both of their names are Joe. I know that they've never gotten along. They've never seen it for each other. I completely agree with the fact that Joe is upset that Teresa was taken from them in some pivotal years that she could have spent with her mom because she was in the clinker. But truth be told, Teresa is not innocent. Okay, she knew exactly what was going on, honey, and she ain't fooling me. So anywho, he pissed. And this is my thing. After years of toxicity, Gia's had enough. Y'all have always had Gia in the middle of family mess, and she's grown now, so now she wants to have a grown-up conversation. So he's like, I'm leaving. So he goes over to Melissa, and Melissa in this god-awful pink dress, she go over to find out what happened. So Louis goes to talk to Joe. Honey, anything to get Joe on Louis' side, okay? Because Louis, we seen that video, child. Moving forward. Child, people are dropping like flies from this party. Ain't this a fool? So Gia explains it to Melissa, and she's like, he can't believe you're piping up, basically. That's what she basically said in a nutshell. And Gia starts laughing because it's BS. And so Melissa is like, don't laugh while your uncle is crying. Go give him a hug. Why he can't come over here and be an adult and give her a hug and talk to her? Since y'all want to treat her like a baby, in normal circumstances, the adult is the one that is the bigger person, if I'm not mistaken. Because if you see her as an adolescent, then shouldn't he be treating her as such? But in true Melissa fashion, you want her to run behind this man. Okay. No, ma'am. She is not a 5-year-old watching y'all fight at the christening and whatnot. So Gia's like, I'm not laughing. Don't make me aggravated right now. Ooh, child, I know that's right. Baby, they have met their match with Gia. Do you hear me? So Joe is calling her dad the devil on the other side, child. And Melissa is trying to explain to Gia that he loves her. And she's like, okay, I'll go talk to him. I will go talk to him. So she goes out there. He immediately starts up. She's like, are you going to even let me talk? So here comes Melissa and Teresa. And she's like, I do not need an entourage. I am fine. Shout out to Entourage. Y'all remember that show that used to come on HBO? That used to be my show. But anywho, that's just a side note. So he tells Gia, look, I've been dealing with this for 20 years with your dad. And I don't want to feel like I'm the devil. So Gia is like, let me speak. She said, look, I don't want you to bring up Nona and Nana, okay? I don't want you to do that. Like, why would you even say that? He's like, it's the truth. She said, no, it's not the truth. You know what? I'm walking away. So everyone is like, Joe, she's young. Come on, man. Just talk to her about it. So he's like, well, it's the truth. Because, he can never be wrong, honey. Him and Teresa are one and the same. So Melissa is like, well, she wants to believe that you're lying. So just let her think that. So Joe said that he wants her to love her dad. No doubt. Okay. He wants her to love her dad, but her dad has done things to hurt the family. So Melissa goes to get Gia and she comes back out and she says, look at me. I'm not 5 years old. He said, no, I look at you and I'm like, you're 21 years old. You should understand what I'm saying. So Gia said, I get that, but the bashing needs to stop. Okay. I have to be here for my sisters as well. It happened. Like, let it go. The jail thing, that was 5 years ago. She said, I don't want this. I don't want to not see you for 6 months. So then he eventually gives in and he gives her a hug. Here go Teresa. I'm so happy. Baby, Teresa is a nut job, honey. Gia has always been more mature than all of them, honey. Joe, Teresa, and Melissa. She the most mature one out of all of them. So then in the confessional, Gia said, I'm going to try to move on for the sake of my sisters, but, it's going to be some baby steps. In the next scene, it's the next day, and Jen is telling us that last night was rough. Oh, child. Yes, it was. She said, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, and, Bill is hiding upstairs because he's embarrassed. Well, as he should be, especially after I found out all of the information about his cheatation. Child, he did it. Come on out now. We know about it now, so show your face. So they show us their conversation on the ride home in the car, right? And she's trying to put on this brave face, for her kids because they're having an end of the year party. So then Teresa arrives and she's like, happy birthday. She's like, no, it's not her birthday. Her birthday's in January. This is an end of the year party. Oh. And first of all, the first thing I noticed is you gonna come and say happy birthday, didn't bring that damn piece of a gift. So if you thought that this was this child's birthday, where's her birthday present? Child, Teresa is Housewives gold. Do y'all hear me? Just as nutty as a fruitcake. So then Dolores arrives, and so they go sit in the kitchen. So Dolores is telling Jennifer, you know what? You held your own last night. And Teresa was like, well, why did she say that at my party when she made it a big deal last year? Teresa, oh God. So then production asks Teresa if she sees now why it was wrong, what she did. But in true Tree fashion, she's like, no, because what I said was a rumor. Like, I didn't say anything true. Teresa, it's still the same thing, sweets. It's still the same thing. Both pertained to someone's marriage. Okay, y'all should keep y'all mouths off of people's marital status. Moving forward. So they're asking Jennifer if he's okay. And so Jenny was like, that was 10 years ago. I'm over it. I was pregnant. She starts telling them the story about how it happened. She was 9 months pregnant and she found his credit card receipts and there was bottle service. Only 2 of you had dinner. I found your credit card receipt. It's not right, but it's okay. Shout out to Whitney. Baby, she said she found the credit card receipt. Okay. So they had bottle service, honey. He popping bottles on the mistress and whatnot. And only 2 days before she gave birth, she sees a text. So she asked him about it. He admitted that he cheated. And she said they had their son and she saw him with the son and she realized she wanted to make it work. And he said he wasn't going to cheat with her anymore. He said it had been over. He said he didn't love her and he said he didn't want a divorce. And they never spoke about it again. Now, truth be told, you just didn't want to relinquish that lifestyle. It's basically like what Beyonce said in that song. Ring the alarm. I've been through this too long. And I'll be damned if I see another chick on. She gonna be rocking chinchilla coats. I'll let you go. Honey, you are not about to give up that lifestyle for this heifer. And you ain't fooling me. That's exactly what's happening. The reason why you didn't want to let him go is not only did you have 19 kids, honey, because they got a lot of kids in that house. Not only did you have all those children, you had no income of your own. You were not stable. You were not on your own 2 feet. You were not bringing in any income. And he was now providing a lifestyle that you liked. So you stuck it out, as most women do. Now, it's not a right thing to do. Me personally, I couldn't do it. That's why I always have to make sure I have my own. But that's what Jennifer chose to do. Child, he probably still creeping on the low, honey. Allegedly. Child, especially since he been on this show and people know who he is. I really do feel bad for Jennifer, honey, because it just can't be trusted. Moving forward. So Teresa and Dolores said they commend her for sticking it out, but Margaret was wrong. Now listen, Dolores said Margaret was wrong, but that's quickly about to change. In the next scene over at Jackie's, they're having a cookout because the kids are leaving for 13 days. Sure, it was so boring. Her parents and brother, they get there, and her kids are going to sleepaway camp. Oh, no, ma'am, honey. My son will not be sleeping away, not nowhere. I don't trust people, and I hear too many stories about creeps out there. Ooh, child. That's the end of her scene. Y'all see how fast that went? Over at Jennifer's, Jackie goes over to the house. And Jennifer said, I invited her over because we made up, and when the Jackie and Evan thing happened and she went through the same thing, maybe she can just offer me some advice. Okay, so now I get it. So every summer, a husband will be exposed. Okay, I see y'all formula for New Jersey, honey, and y'all ain't fooling me. I would watch Jackie if I were you, though, Jennifer. Okay, because her and Margaret are super close. I would be careful what I disclose to her, and I would just watch her all together. So they started talking about it, right? And she asked if she knew, and she said she did, but she didn't want to hurt her, so she didn't say anything. Girl, please. I feel like you were holding on to it for Mad Day. And that's what I truly feel. This is my opinion. I don't trust Jackie being in such close proximity with Margaret, and then when she says a little bit later, lets me further know that she's not completely over what happened with Jennifer. In the next scene, Margaret and Dolores, they go meet at a furniture store to look for some furniture for Dolores' new townhome. Child, Margaret always dressed like that 70s show. Ugh, I cannot stand her style of dress. And let me just say this. We talk about Giselle, but Margaret's home is tacky and Margaret's clothes are tacky. I think her and Giselle might be neck and neck. Honey, go on back and look at it. Y'all see what I'm talking about? But anywho, that's just a side note. So Margaret is over there trying to state her case to Dolores as to why she was not wrong. She's like, yeah, and she was trying to get intake over here, and she called somebody in Tennessee and asked them questions, and she also was asking Frank, trying to shake him down. So in the confessional, Margaret was like, me and Dolores have known for months that Jennifer was trying to get dirt on Evan from Frank, but we never told Jackie. She's like, yeah, and she tried to shake my friend down too. So Dolores is like, so what was she going to do with the information? Marge said she wanted to see someone else suffer. That's what I think. Dolores, don't fall for that. Don't fall for it. Okay? Don't fall for it. Back at Jennifer's, Jackie is like, if we're really going to be cool and really going to be good, like, I want to be sure that there's no sneaky backstabbing stuff happening. So Jen is like, I wouldn't do that. Like, I wouldn't, but Marge did. And is that okay? So then Jackie gonna come out of her mouth and say, I have no problem with what she did because you've said plenty of times that Margaret is awful for cheating on her husband. That is awful, Jackie. Is you stupid or is you dumb? That is. Let me be clear. I believe the rumor about Evan, allegedly. Okay? Because where there's smoke, there's fire. And Evan is a good-looking man. And Jackie seemed bored in a box of rocks, honey. So I would not put it past him. And Jackie knows that something is amiss when it comes to Evan. But honey, the same thing that Jennifer is trying to do is keep her business in her house. And why would you want to be friends with a cheater? Like, that speaks to your moral compass. I mean, I wouldn't want to be friends with a cheater. And then people are accusing my husband of cheating too? Oh, absolutely not. But the difference is that she tried to shame Jennifer for being cheated on as if it were her fault. There's a total difference. Your little friend is the cheater. Child. So she's like, I just don't think she was wrong. I would have politely escorted her right on out. I would have said, thanks for coming, honey. And I would have closed my door and locked it behind her, sent the camera crew home, and went upstairs and watched some Netflix. Child, I would not engage with Jackie saying in my face that she does not feel what Margaret did was wrong. So she's like, well, Teresa and Dolores, they feel like what she did was wrong. She hurt my feelings. Back with Dolores and Margaret over at the furniture store, she's like, so now do you think I'm wrong? Dolores was like, no, I don't think now. No. What? So then she says, would I have done it? No, but I can understand being fed up. Dolores is a flip-flopper, okay? She is a flip-flopper. Danielle told us years ago to watch Dolores, okay? And I'm starting to wonder if she was right, because you probably was talking about Teresa behind her back. You really got to watch Dolores, honey. I don't know. Moving forward. So Dolores said, I just want all of y'all to get together, come over to the condo for a little housewarming, and just start from scratch. Jennifer, in her confessional over on the other side, she's like, I kept this a secret from everyone, my kids, my best friend, my parents, everyone. And she starts crying. I feel for Jennifer. I really do. But I have to play devil's advocate for just 1 second, because I see, when I see things, I got to say things. Okay. So I'm just going to say this. I feel for you, Jennifer, but sweetheart, you have to know that on these types of shows, if you're going to constantly be saying something, then your dirty laundry is going to be aired as well. It's not right, but that's what happens on these shows. Eventually, somebody was going to say something. Now, I don't like that it came out like this, and your friends and your family, nobody knew. It would be different if you shared with some people and you decided to keep it to yourself, but this is going to be brand new news to everybody. And it's going to hurt some people, honey. Ooh, that Margaret. So in the confessional, Jackie gonna say, I was upset last year, but I got to tell my kids that it wasn't true. And she has to tell them that he cheated. Okay. I'm not finna cuss on this review. I'm really not. Moving forward. All of the ladies are getting together at Dolores' townhome. Child, Dolores having a housewarming at a temporary condo. Child, this is a fool, honey. I guess she got to have something to do, because Dolores ain't had nothing to do or gave nothing on a season, and Danielle was on the show. But honey, I like Dolores and whatnot, but she gives nothing. She been renovating that house for 17 seasons, and so has Margaret. And they probably told Margaret, listen, okay, we're going to have to do something besides those platforms, those pigtails, and redoing that basement. Okay, you're going to have to get in there. Child, this is a mess. So Margaret gets there first, of course. Isn't that convenient? And they're talking about Jackie going to see Jennifer. So Dolores was like, she went to see Jennifer? And she's like, yeah. And she also said that you said you thought it was right. That's not what she said, actually. Okay, see how words and stuff get twisted up when you start playing telephone? Like, I used to like Margaret, but I can't stand her now. I really cannot. Like, it's just, you can really tell when they settle into their housewives roles, because they start to act different. And I'm not saying don't be a veteran, honey. I'm not saying don't let your veteran light shine through the housewives scenes of it all, but it starts to become a bit much. So anywho, that's just a side note. So Dolores is like, well, I felt bad until I spoke to you. So she said, you can't pass moral judgment when you're living in a glass house. Lady, shut up. Her going off on you for being a cheating hussy, breaking up somebody else's marriage, that has nothing to do with her living in a glass house. Nothing at all. Girl, please. This franchise is actually full of cheaters, because here comes Tiki's little side piece, Tracy. And don't think I forgot. Moving forward. Jennifer and Teresa aren't there yet, so Dolores is showing them around the townhome, right? So they meet back in the kitchen, and Melissa is like, okay, so what is this? And she's telling them that she has no mortgage on her other place and that she owns her home, which is why she can afford multiple places. Okay, Dolores, you better flex on them, honey. Multiple places and multiple men. But truth be told, honey, anybody can have a home and then rent a townhome. I'm just saying. So then Jackie was like, does David mind? She said, we still talk as boyfriend and girlfriend, but I haven't seen much of David. Girl, if you don't let David go, it is going nowhere fast. Y'all are too old for this, okay? And also, I want to say this about Dolores. She talk all that hot stuff when she get with the ladies, but the men in her life, she let them run all the way over her. Case in point, Frank. Her and Frank had a marriage. He cheated on her. She decided to let things go and let him go, but yet he's still involved in her life. Great co-parenting situation. I love the two of them as friends. But then you go pick up David, who's basically stringing you along. He does nothing for you. He does nothing with you. And he's never on any of the housewives anything. Everything that you do, we only hear about David. What Karen said to Giselle, he's the man that lives in the phone. Girl, don't make no sense. So she's like, we see each other less and less. Girl, y'all ain't together for real. Let's move on. So Melissa said, I know she wants to convince us that they're great, but I believe she wants more now. And the fact that she's basically moved into this townhome, I feel like it's the beginning of the end. Honey, it should be if it's not. Moving forward. So they're asking her questions and whatnot about David. So then they were like, are you open to something new? She's like, not now. Time's a ticking, Dolores. Okay, what are you gonna do? Piss or get off the pot? So Margaret's like, so what if somebody swoops in like Louis did Teresa? All right now, Margaret, wrong road, because Teresa does not comprehend well. So you even saying Louis's name is gonna send her off the deep end. Teresa gonna start talking how she talks. She's gonna push you over into a pool or something. Please just don't say nothing about Louis, please. So then they switch gears to Louis, of course, and they start talking about the video. So Melissa's like, I don't think the video bothers Teresa. It's the fact that people see he's not perfection. So then Tiki's little babysitter, she chimes in and she's like, that's not addressing the elephant in the room. It really does him no favors. Ma'am, you're new. Okay? You're new. And your sordid past with your husband is the real elephant in the room. So I would just sit this one out. Like it's making sense. Right message, wrong messenger. Moving forward. So they talk about what was in the video. And it was a retreat to help him treat his woman better. Okay. And in the video, he was begging for the woman to come back. The way they were talking about this video, okay, before I saw it, I thought it was a not safe for work video. It's perfectly fine. He was at a retreat, begging for forgiveness. And it's still weird. But listen, if Teresa like it, I love it, child. Please let Teresa be happy and go on off to the sunset. But I will say this, Teresa, girl, y'all done moved in together. You've moved your daughters with this man. I just don't like that. But it's not my relationship. But please get a prenup. And that's that on that. Moving forward. In the middle of all of this, Jennifer shows up. Awkward. So they all start, scurrying like roaches as soon as the lights come on. I'm like, y'all need to grow up. Like, what is wrong with y'all? They all moving around and acting like they don't see her. Nobody speaks. I'm like, this is so rude. So they're in the kitchen, right? And throughout this entire episode, Jackie is trying to let it be known that she's only speaking to Jennifer because she feels bad. I still have Margaret's back, but I just feel bad for Jennifer. I still am on y'all's side, but I feel bad for Jennifer. Jackie, we know you want to belong, honey. And I know you're kind of frightened that you'll be on the outside with Jennifer, but these girls, that's not what it is. Okay. And you don't have to keep trying to convince them that you're still on their team. It's given high school. But then again, Jackie didn't really have friends in high school and stuff. Her high school years were a little different. So I guess this is high school reincarnated or something, child. I have no idea. So they're in the kitchen and they're all like, oh, it looks like she's going to cry. Why is she going to cry? Well, maybe she's insecure about coming in here where we are. So then they asked the host, who was Dolors, why she's upset. And she's like, I don't know, because Dolores got a little attitude, honey, a little chip on her shoulder. So she takes over some water and she's like, what are you doing? Why are you crying? There's no need to cry. This isn't you. She said, I'm just overwhelmed. So then in the confessional, Dolores was like, I'm aggravated with her because she walks around like she's big and bad and she's so happy and now she's falling apart. Why? Because unlike Margaret that came in wearing her scarlet letter proudly, Jen did not want her kids to find out this way, and she's hurt. Like, have some sympathy. Ugh. She's like, I'm just overwhelmed. She's like, no, you're okay. No, she's overwhelmed and she's outnumbered. Okay, it's one thing when the two of you are just arguing back and forth and it's just the two of you. Nobody in this room likes Jennifer. Not one of you. And Dolores, I'm starting to side eye you. So here comes Margaret stomping out. What are you crying about? Like, for real, like, what are you crying about? You, that's why. And your little clique, you spoke on her marriage. You spoke on her marriage so you would feel better. And now you're confused as to why she's upset? Like, I would have to cuss Margaret out. I would just have to cuss Margaret out. So she sits down and she's like, I don't want you to cry. Yes, you do. That was your desired result. When you went over there and got ready to drop that bomb, you did that because you wanted this very reaction, what you're getting right now. She's like, your behavior is hypocritical tonight. So Jennifer is like, well, you were putting it out there, so I had an opinion. So then Margaret brings up what she did to Jackie, digging up dirt. Jackie overhears it, right? Jackie comes over. So once she gets confronted with it, Jennifer comes clean. Jennifer, girl, you got me taking up for you and you doing all that, knowing you got skeletons in your own closet. Let me tell you something. Jennifer, I'm speaking directly to you, honey. If you know that you have something that you don't want others to know, sit still and be quiet. Girl. Oh, child. So Jennifer was like, well, it was out of curiosity. So at this point, all the ladies are in the same room, right? And so Jackie gets upset that she searched her husband when Jennifer's husband is the one who was actually doing dirt. And as I said, quiet as it's kept, yours probably was too, allegedly. So Jackie was like, you judge people knowing your stuff is out there. So Jennifer said, that was 10 years ago. So here go Margaret. But yet you're judging me on things that was 30 years ago. Margaret, let me give you the difference, honey. You came in. I cheated on my husband. My kids hate me. And here we are. This woman was keeping her business, her marital business, in her house. Okay? She didn't bring that to everybody, but you did. So then she said, but you were mean to me. Here go Margaret. I didn't do anything to you. Oh, Lord. Jennifer said, Margaret, you hit below the belt my children. So then Margaret comes out of her crooked mouth and says, oh, your kids are resilient. Like, you'll go to therapy and you'll be fine. Girl, don't tell me to just take my kids to therapy and it's going to be fine. Was it fine for you? Because your kids aren't speaking to you still. You remember a few seasons ago when you were crying? How resilient were they? Like, that's just disrespectful. Child, please. So Melissa is like, no, we love your kids. Let's get that straight. And Jennifer was like, no. Again, Melissa, please shut up. So then her friend Tracy, she says in her confessional, you know, I've known Melissa for years and it's really hard for me to pick a side, but I don't understand how they don't see why she's hurt. Because they're heartless and they want her to be hurt. They see and they know exactly what they're doing. Meanwhile, Dolores is like, you're fine. It's okay. Dolores, what are you on right now? Like, what are you really doing? So Jennifer said, you think I'm crying because I'm weak, and I'm not. She said, I am brave for crying. Jennifer is trying to make them see how this has affected her kids. Jennifer, don't waste your breath, honey, because they could care less. After everything, here comes Teresa. Girl, nice of you to join us. So Dolores is out there telling Teresa about Jennifer and how she was sobbing, right? And Margaret asked why she was crying. So then Teresa was like, she was hurt. That's why she was crying. I know that's right, Teresa. So Dolores tells her about how Jennifer was searching Evan's mistress and asking people. Girl, just say she was asking Frank about the alleged mistress. So Teresa says, so you don't think what Margaret did was wrong? Dolores again was like, you know, I wouldn't do it. Teresa was like, but that's kind of like crossing the line. So then she goes in and she sees Jennifer. She's like, are you good? She said, yeah, I'm okay. In the other room, Jackie is trying to convince them again that the only reason why she spoke to Jennifer is because she felt bad. Jackie, we got it. They still gonna be your friend at the end of the day. In the other room, Margaret is saying to Dolores, she's like, you know, I don't want to hurt her kids. And Dolores is like, and you would never. So then in the confessional, Margaret gonna say, let's not forget that Bill did cheat on her, and that's what's painful, not me making it public. Lady, don't try to gaslight me, okay? Please don't do it. Her kids were fine until you said something, until you got into it, okay? That was not your place to out any of that. And as far as you not hurting her kids, I think you would. The fact that you just brushed it out, they're resilient. They'll get over it. they're kids. I think you would try to hurt her kids, allegedly. So Teresa said, so I'm just trying to figure out why what I did was so bad, but then you did the same thing at my party. Child, Teresa gonna make something about her if she don't do nothing else. So Jackie is like, well, she went straight to Jennifer, like, you didn't come to me. Jackie, hush. Because actually, according to you, she came to you first. And God knows who else. So you actually knew the whole time. All of y'all knew. But nobody was saying anything. So in essence, it's the same thing that Teresa did. It was a rumor. She took it to somebody else. And that's the same thing that Margaret did. You just didn't say anything about it. Bottom line is, she wanted to hurt Jennifer and she succeeded. Okay, all y'all wrong. So Margaret is like, well, Jennifer has chastised me for certain things that went on in her own backyard. I would chastise you too. I would have words for somebody that hurts their spouse by cheating, knowing the pain that I felt when it was done to me. I would chastise you as well. So Jennifer was like, I gotta go. Like, I'm removing myself from this situation. I just gotta get out of here. So then all of a sudden, Dolores is like, it's the beautiful life she's so proud of. Because now Jennifer is gone and she's down in her car. So then Tracy chimes in and she's like, well, you know, maybe it's because the persona that she was presenting is starting to crumble. I'm sorry, I just can't do her. Like, I really just cannot. Honey, you were the cause of someone else's beautiful life crumbling. Like, I just don't know, honey. I just can't do her. I just cannot. Not right now. I just really can't. So then Melissa said, it's always the girls who have it the worst are always the ones that put up a facade like everything is perfect. You know what's really disgusting to me about Melissa in this episode? Is her relishing in another woman being cheated on. It's gross. It really is. And baby, judging from the way Teresa looking at you, you would know. Of course, she put up a facade because nobody was aware of him cheating. She wanted to keep that to herself. She was just masking her pain, basically like faking it until she make it. And since no one knew, she had to keep up that facade. But that facade was for her and her family, not for y'all. And that was the end of the episode. Baby, that episode was good to me, honey. Y'all can say what y'all want to say about the Real Housewives of New Jersey, but they are bringing the zhuzh and giving what needs to be gave as they do each and every season. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. Do you feel for Jennifer or are you on Margaret's team? Do you think Dolores is a flip-flopper and maybe Danielle was on to something when she said she was talking about Teresa seasons ago? Because I do. Don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.